Shabbat Shalom, beautiful people of Yahuwah. It is a beautiful day down here in South America, and I hope it is a beautiful day where you guys are at. I know in North America it's pretty cold up there. Around the world it's getting pretty cold. And I hope I have a lesson today which may or may not change everything for some people. I'll always got to apologize for the dogs that are all around me. I have 10 pit bulls. My name is Jason. This is the Yahuwah and the Torah channel. This is all Yahuwah's channel, and I am simply a gardener. Myself, my sons, and my wife will get on here every once in a long while, and every time I can convince her to get on, I do. And we are all the gardeners of the Yahuwah and the Torah channel, and we are so happy that we are able to do this for our Creator. I prayed all my life that I would have a part in the kingdom to come, that I would be found worthy to have any part, even a speaking part, even a parroting of the Torah, which has been with us all our lives, but yet unfortunately most of us don't even know what the Torah is. And for those who don't know what the Torah is the first 5 books of the Bible, from Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. And it was a time when our Creator walked amongst us. And before you say, hey, that's a thing for the old people, that's a thing for the people of Moshe, that's a thing for God's people. Well, if you said that's a thing for God's people, that is correct. Because the Torah is meant to give us life. It's meant to give us blessings, but it will also give us curses if we do not keep it. And the Torah is one of the most beautiful things I've ever found in my entire existence. Because once you understand that your Creator has been seeking you, then when you start seeking your Creator, it becomes a beautiful relationship. And there's a question that everybody seems to forget. A couple things. First of all, how long is forever? How long is all generations? How long is for all generations? That is a question that we must absolutely understand, because if for some reason we believe that we are beyond forever, or we are beyond all generations, then we would come to the understanding that I guess the Torah isn't for us. But for those who understand what all generations means and what forever means, and that not one jot or tittle of the Torah will be gone until heaven and earth pass away, then we come to believe that there are instructions for us, that there are things for our lives that we should be doing. And the very first place that people come into the Torah is usually on the Sabbath day. We see that 4th commandment in Exodus 20. And the 4th commandment looks a lot different than all the other commandments. Because instead of 1 or 2 lines and a period at the end of it, a basic statement, it gives us a basic statement, and then it tells us a little bit more about how do we keep this set apart day. How do we keep this day that is more important than any other day to our Creator ever? How do we get into the rhythm and roll of becoming excited every single week when the 7th day comes around? And the question would ask, and we should ask ourselves, does the Creator truly care which day we worship on? Because we have a religion of Christianity that allows everybody to worship whatever day they want. And can you worship every single day you want? Absolutely. In fact, that's part of the Torah. We're supposed to rise to the Torah. We're supposed to set our heads to the Torah. We're supposed to talk about it to our families. We're supposed to, it's like a celebration. Every single day that we are alive and we breathe, the sun is coming up on us. We must thank our Creator for another day of breath, because our time is simply His time. Our breath, our life, our heartbeats our kidney functions. It's all in Yah's hand. And so it is very interesting and is very worthy to note how long forever is. Because there is something very exceptional in the lesson for today. And I hope and I pray by the time we get through with this, that you guys may agree with me that we are on our Creator's favorite day. On a day that was created long before us, on a day that our Creator celebrates, on a day that the angels of the Shamayim celebrate. It was there before we ever existed. When we exist, is this a day that we should get rid of? Let's read. It's simple enough. All we have to do is read in context. Let's read slowly. Let's ask the Ruach HaKodesh to give us the understanding. And for those who are first coming into Shabbat and the Torah, huge hugs for you. Huge hugs. It is a journey of a lifetime that is worth the experience of going. Jubilees 2. And the angel of the presence spoke to Moshe according to the word of Yahuwah, saying, write the complete history of creation, of the creation, how in 6 days Yahuwah Elohim finished all his works and all that he created, and kept Shabbat on the 7th day, and sanctified it for all ages, and appointed it as a sign for all his works. So we have two things right here. Number one, he sanctified this for all ages. And let's go back to the question of how long is forever? How long is for all ages? How long is for all generations? How long is till one jot or one tittle of the Torah fall away? It's forever, guys. Verse 2. For on the first day he created the heavens which are above, and the earth and the waters, and all the Ruach, which serve before him, the angels of the presence, and the angels of sanctification. And I'm going to pause at the angels of sanctification, guys, because this is a chapter that we can learn a tremendous amount about the army of our Creator, about how his setup is working. Now, before we go into all these angels in this simple verse, there's something about this because we're dealing with angels and we're also dealing with Ruach, spirits, right? Listen up. So we have the angels of presence in the middle of this, and the angels of sanctification, and the angels of the Ruach of fire, and the angels of the Ruach of the winds, and the angels of the Ruach of the clouds, and of darkness, and of snow, and of hail, and of hoarfrost, and the angels of the voices, and of thunder, and of lightning, and the angels of a Ruach of cold, and of heat, and of winter, and of spring, and of autumn, and of summer, and of all the Ruach of his creatures, which are in the heavens and the earth. Verse 3, he created the abysses, and the darkness, evening and night, and light, dawn and day, which he has prepared in the knowledge of his heart. And thereupon we saw his works, and praised him, and lauded before him on account of all his works. For 7 great works did he create on the first day. So we have the entire group of creatures that our Creator has created, and they were before him during creation, and they lauded him. They were like, wow, that is amazing. And can you imagine watching our Creator and work as he designs and creates all this stuff to perfection? Verse 4, and on the second day he created the expanse in the midst of the waters, and the waters were divided on that day. Half of them went up above, and half of them went down below the expanse. That was in the midst over the face of the whole earth. And this was the only work Elohim created on the second day. And they say that like it's the only work that he created. But can you imagine that? We just were seeing why the sky is blue. Why is the sky blue? Well, water seems to be blue, and half of it went up and half of it went down on the second day. That's incredible. So it's not that that's all he did. It's that he formed all of this, and it's just incredible. It's incredible to even fathom this. And on the third day, he commanded the waters to pass from off the face of the whole earth into one place, and the dry land to appear. And the waters did so as he commanded them, and they retired from off the face of the earth into one place outside of this expanse. And the dry land appeared. And on that day he created for them all the seas according to their separate gathering places, and all the rivers, and the gatherings of the waters in the mountains, and on all the earth, and all the lakes, and all the dew of the earth, and the seed which is sown, and all sprouting things, and fruit-bearing trees, and trees of all of the wood, and the garden of Eden, in Eden and all. So this is what we did. And what day is this? 4? These 4 great works Elohim created on is the third day. On the third day. The fourth day. The fourth day he created the sun and the moon and the stars and set them in the expanse of the heaven to give light upon all the earth and to rule over the day and the night and divide the light from the darkness. So until the fourth day, we never ever had a sun. We never had the sun. So a lot of question is one day calculated the same way that our Creator, that we keep our time? We keep our time as in 24 hours. In 24 hours, we think that is a day. But we know this is a day because of the sun and because of the moon and the way that it goes on. But we didn't even have the classification of times and things of the sun up until the fourth day. So when it says that a day is 1,000 years for our Creator, we have to remember a couple things. One is that our Creator keeps Shabbat as well. So if it's 1,000 years in our timing, but it's only a day for him, we could already be up to 4,000, 3,000 years that he has created this. And as human beings, it is very hard to fathom that we could create things of this nature in a day or even 1,000 years or even this time. So I don't have an answer for that, but it is the fourth day where we got the sun and the moon. So, and on the fourth day he created the sun and the moon and the stars and set them in the expanse of the heaven to give light upon all the earth and to rule over the day and the night and divide the light from the darkness. And Elohim appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth for days and for Shabbats and for months and for feasts and for years and for Shabbats of years and for jubilees and for all seasons of the years. Guys, and to those who don't understand what Jubilees is every 50 years, or there's a Jubilee of rest every 7 years, right? There's appointed times and times that we are in our Father's calendar that we need to be on His calendar. If we're not on His calendar, we're missing all sorts of stuff. Verse 10, and it divides the light from the darkness, and for prosperity, that all things may prosper which shoot and grow on the earth. These 3 kinds he made on the fourth day. So up until day 4, right, we didn't have the sun out there giving growth. So he was designing and engineering and making all this stuff. And then we have the sun. And the sun is the engine of this thing, how to make things grow. And on the 5th day, he created great sea monsters in the depths of the waters. For these were the first things of flesh that were created by his hands. The fish and everything that moves in the waters and everything that flies, the birds and all their kind. So these are some very interesting things that we are learning right here, right? That the fish and things of that nature were the first things created by his hands, right? Our Creator is an engineering machine. If you look at creation and you even simply look at a fish, about the way they breathe and the way their heart works, the way their entire system works, right? Creation is all like that. You look at the anatomy of a bear. You look at an anatomy of a human. Look at it all. It's all based upon the same design. You could definitely tell we all have the same designer. It's the same design for everything, from the amoeba all the way to human beings. Verse 12. And the sun rose above them to prosper them, and above everything that was on the earth, everything that shoots out of the earth, and all fruit-bearing trees and all flesh. These 3 kinds he created on the 5th day. And on the 6th day, he created all the animals of the earth and all cattle and everything that moves on the earth. And after all this, he created man. A man and a woman created he them and gave him dominion over all that is upon the earth and in the seas and over everything that flies and over beasts and over cattle and over everything that moves on the earth and the whole earth, and over all this he gave his dominion. And these 4 kinds he created on the 6th day. Guys, we are ramping up here, if you guys can't understand this. He is keeping his best for last. And the best that he has for last is a Shabbat. Verse 16, and there were altogether 22 kinds. And he finished all his work on the sixth day. All that is in the heavens and on the earth and in the seas and in the abyss and in the light and in the darkness and in everything. And he gave us a great sign, the Shabbat, that we should work 6 days, but guard the Shabbat on the seventh day from all work. Wow, we're getting a lot of information here. We're getting a lot of stuff because prior to this, if we're only in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, we don't have a tremendous amount of details on how to keep the Shabbat, on what to do, how to do it, and things of that nature. We know we shouldn't pick up sticks, that's for sure. We shouldn't mow our lawn. That's probably a curse. Things of that nature. Verse 19, and all the angels of the presence, and all the angels of sanctification. This is very, very interesting, guys. I had to think about this for a while. And still, I don't know if I have an answer. And all the angels of sanctification, these 2 great classes he has bidden us to guard the Shabbat with him in heaven and in earth. Okay, now this is very interesting because in verse 2, it talks about a tremendous amount of angels and it talks about a tremendous amount of Ruach, right? But the only angels that are to keep the Shabbat are the angels of presence and the angels of sanctification. So the angels of the Ruach of fire and the angels of the Ruach of winds, can you imagine if they took a day off, right? Every Shabbat, the wind wouldn't blow, fire would cease to go. So I found that very interesting that those classes, the 2 great classes of angels, he has bidden us to guard the Shabbat with him in heaven and earth. So this isn't something that just us humans are doing. This is something that all creation, if you're under our Creator, is doing. Verse 20, and he said unto us, behold, I will separate unto myself a people from among all the peoples. Guys, this is the question. Do you want to be the peoples of Yahuwah? If you do, this is how. What separates these people? And these shall guard the Shabbat, and I will sanctify them unto myself as my people, and will bless them, as I have sanctified the Shabbat, and do sanctify it unto myself. Even so I will bless them, and they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And I have chosen the seed of Yaakov. You guys are the seed of Yaakov from amongst all that I have seen, and have written him down as my firstborn son, and have sanctified him unto myself forever and ever. Guys, you are the seed of Yaakov. You are the seed of Yisrael. If you keep the laws, statutes, and commands of the Elohim Most High Yahuwah, you are his child. You are a child. But it's a two-way street. Right? There's no grace, 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 mercy, 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 mercy. You must have a relationship with it. No relationship in the entire world is possible without two ways relationship. If your wife is completely cold to you or you're completely cold to your wife at all times, there's no relationship there. There's nothing. There's no love. It doesn't exist. So this he kept under for himself forever and ever. And then what does he go on to say? And I will teach them the Shabbat, that they may guard the Shabbat thereon from all work. Guys, this is a message for today, for you right now on this Shabbat. Are you in covenant with our Creator? Verse 22, and thus he created therein a sign in accordance with which they should guard the Shabbat with us on the seventh day, to eat and to drink, and to bless him who has created all things as he has blessed and sanctified unto himself a peculiar people above all peoples. How do you rank yourself above all peoples? Look around you. How many people are keeping the Shabbat? Very, very, very few, right? So how do you become a peculiar people? Because they that should guard the Shabbat together with us. That's how we become a peculiar people. That is the path to becoming a peculiar person. And he caused his commands to ascend as a sweet savor, acceptable before him all the days. There were 22 heads of mankind from Adam to Yaakov, and 22 kinds of work were made until the seventh day. This is blessed and holy, and the former also is blessed and holy. And this one serves with that one for sanctification and blessing. And to this Yaakov and his seed, it was granted that they should always be the blessed. And the Kadeshim, right? The Kadeshim, the saints, the holy men, the holy ones of the first testimony and Torah, even as he had sanctified and blessed the Shabbat on the seventh day. He created heaven and earth and everything that he created in 6 days. And Elohim made the seventh day holy for all his works. Therefore he commanded on its behalf that whosoever does any work therein shall die, and that he who defiles it shall surely die. What does this mean? This means that if you're out there and you understand the law, statutes, and commands of our Creator, but yet you go and pick up sticks, you're worthy of the death judgment. There are times, and especially times on a farm, and there's times in life where there is something that happens out of the ordinary where we are unable to keep the Shabbat as we should keep the Shabbat, right? Our oxen falls in a ditch, there's death, despair, something bad happens. But for the majority of your time, 99.9% of the time, we should be keeping this Shabbat. And if we know that we should be keeping the Shabbat because it is this important to our Creator, then you must absolutely know that when you violate the Shabbat, you should be judged with death, right? That's what he does. We're going over the next couple of verses on what happens if you don't keep the Sabbath. Verse 27, wherefore do you command the children of Yisrael to observe this day, and that they may keep it holy, and not do thereon any work, and not to defile it, as it is holier than all other days. Guys, as Christians, we believe that the Sabbath is now a Sunday, a first day, instead of the seventh day. We quote scriptures about how our Messiah is our Sabbath, and we don't need to keep the Sabbath anymore because somehow we are a new group of rebels that somehow our Father and his Son have allowed for. And that's something outside of the Bible, because there's nowhere in the Bible the rebels prosper like this. Rebels are not in covenant. Rebels do not succeed generation after generation. It doesn't happen, right? If you are not keeping the Sabbath, you are creating a generational curse for anyone that comes after you, because you are out of covenant. Verse 28, and whosoever profanes it shall surely die, and whosoever does thereon any work shall surely die eternally, that the children of Yisrael may observe this day throughout their generations, and not be rooted out of the land. For it is a holy day, and it is a blessed day. Again, he reiterates this about the holiness. This is his day, guys. The day of Shabbat is the day of Yahuwah. It is blessed. It is where you come into covenant with our Creator. It is where we take the entire day off. We get rid of the world. The world is off. The only communications we do anytime on Shabbat is with you guys when you guys have questions, or we are putting videos out of stuff that we are learning as we're learning it ourselves, right? That is it. That is it. We don't go out. We have our cows we have to deal with, and if we didn't take care of our cows, they would all die. But that is what we are supposed to do. We're supposed to take care of the oxen and the animals. Are we supposed to go out and harvest a field? Absolutely not. You would never expect blessings if you went out and did work on Shabbat. If you guys are not keeping Shabbat, don't expect blessings in your life. Don't expect the goodness of our Creator to fall upon you if you are out of covenant with Him. Literally, if you are out of covenant with Him, you are not a child of the Most High. That is the bottom line. He cares about you, but if you are not in covenant and care enough about Him to be in covenant with Him, He's not going to care about you. Matthew 7 says that those who live without the Torah are going to be sent to hell. Depart from me. Verse 29, and everyone who observes it and guards Shabbat therein from all his work will be holy and blessed throughout all days like unto us. Does that mean you're never going to have problems? Does that mean your cows are never going to die? Does that mean you're not going to have injury, or you're not going to fall in a hole and break your leg? Does that mean everything in life is going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But it can be far worse than anything you have ever expected. If you still have health, Praise Yah for your health, and it is time to grab a hold of the Torah so that your health is not part of the curse, right? So many times in the scriptures, Yah has afflicted people's health towards the end of their lives or in their lives, given them leprosy, made their bowels come out, make them die horrible, horrible deaths. And to us as humans, that stuff scares us, right? Sorry, the dogs are sneezing back here. It scares us, right? We don't want to be cursed, but yet are we willing to put away the pork chops? Are we willing to put away the shellfish and the lobster and this? Are we willing to take a day off? Are we willing to rise up and not cook on Shabbat? Is that us? Guys, verse 30, and we're almost done. Declare and say to the children of Yisrael, the Torah of this day, both that they should guard the Shabbat thereon, and that they should not forsake it in the error of their hearts. My friends, it says, declare to the children of Israel. My friends, you guys are the children of Israel. I believe without a shadow of a doubt that the 12 tribes of Israel have been scattered across the world, and these are the end times, and these are the times that we are coming back into a covenant, into a love for our Creator. Guys, this is where we want to be. We want to be under the wings of our Creator. We don't want to be disrespecting our Creator by not keeping His Shabbats and keeping His rules. It's a problem. Let's finish up. And that they should not forsake it in the errors of their hearts. Don't forsake it, friends. And that it is against the Torah to do any work therein which is unseemly, to do thereon their own pleasure, and that they should not prepare thereon anything to be eaten or drunk, and that it is against the Torah to draw water, or bring in or take out therein through your gates any burden, which they had not prepared for themselves on the sixth day in their dwellings. Can we take a brief moment and talk about this? I don't know if I have the entire recipe for keeping Shabbat. I will tell you how the Boss Clan and how we do it here. This is what we do on preparation day. It is a glorious day. It's a little extra work for my wife because she is cooking around right in the afternoons. She's busting a move, cooking us all the meals that we need for Shabbat. So this morning we got up and the first thing we do is we have a crock pot that's sitting on warm, right? You either click it from warm to high, but it is mostly 90% of the way cooked. It's simply just sitting there warm. So for breakfast, we have eggs and we have sausage and things of that nature that has been like slow cooking literally all night. Sometimes we will have oatmeal, or sometimes we will have, wife calls it like overnight French toast or something. So there's zillions of different crock pot meals that you can make and set them at the day before sunset that you will eat all day long. For dinners and lunches, we usually have some sort of roast or something that is in the crock pot that is cooked all day long. We're not cooking, we're not preparing. We don't get salads out and start cutting salads. There's nothing to prepare, right? It says don't grab water, right? You're supposed to pail all your water. You're supposed to fetch it. Does that mean you shouldn't go to your sink and turn your water on? That's not it. It's that back in the day when you wanted to get a pail of water, you went out to your well, you lowered the bucket down, you pulled it up, and you walked back to your dwellings, right? It's work. That is what we were supposed to do. So Friday, Shabbat, we were supposed to draw all of our water. So we all had water to drink on the Shabbat. We're not out there we're not picking up sticks. This is not a day of labor. This is a day of preparing our heart, minds, and souls for the time that we will spend with our Creator in eternity. It is a time of obedience. It is a time that this is basically us putting our hands up. Will we be chosen by our Creator? Absolutely. What happens when we don't keep Shabbat? I will tell you as a human being, after keeping Shabbat now, 7 years or something of the sort, that when we miss a Shabbat, when something horrible happens, like our animals get sick or we have tragedies of that nature, which is very, 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 very rare on a Shabbat. We try to keep it, as the textbook says. But when we miss a Shabbat, the week following that is rough. Like we missed our day of rest. Human beings absolutely were built to have a day of rest. We're not built to work 7 days a week and 7 days. It just doesn't, that's not what we were built for. And when you start keeping Shabbat, your life will change, your world will change, your priorities will change, your understanding of our Creator will change. So that is where the purpose of that is. verse 31, and they shall not bring in or take out from their house to house on that day. You're not supposed to be moving crap. It's day to day. This is a day of rest, right? For that day is more holy and blessed than any Jubilee day of the Jubilees. On this we kept Shabbat in the heavens before it was made known to any flesh to guard the Shabbat there on earth. Guys, we are a special entity. We may not even know about Shabbats. But our Creator loved us so much that He gave this to us as a gift. This is not bondage. This is a vacation day. This is the day that we are to spend a day with our family. We are supposed to rest. We're supposed to get some naps in. We are supposed to get holiness. We read our Bibles all day long, right? Every one of us in our house, when we get up in the morning, this is how it rolls. We get up in the morning, and usually on schedule, we will pray as a family. We will sit around in a prayer circle. We'll go around a couple times and we'll pray. And we pray for a lot of you guys on YouTube. We have, from my other YouTube channel, I have pages of people that we pray for and we still pray for. And we pray for all of you guys on YouTube. On YouTube and on 153news.net, we pray for everybody because we want truth to be out there. We want you guys to be in the Torah. We want you guys to be in Yah's glory. There's a very few of us, right? At the end of the day, when it says many are called but few are chosen, what does that mean? When it talks about a narrow gate and the wide path of destruction, and that most people do not make it, those should all be bells that are ringing in our minds. Why don't the people make it? How is this journey so hard? How is it if people can go out and say, Lord, Lord, have we prophesied in your name? We've done all these great things. We've raised the dead in your name. We've done all this stuff. We've done greatness. I've never raised the dead. I've never been able to put hands on people and make them well. Well, these people thought they did, and they did it in the name of Messiah. And at the end, he says, I don't know you. You workers of lawlessness. You workers of iniquity. You who are Torah-less. So all the Christians that sit there and sing songs in Jesus' name on a wrong day, they're all going to hell. And that's not by my words. That is what the Bible says. And people are like, oh, Jason, you're a heretic. You just want to bring the old laws of God back. We don't need that. We're under Paul's laws. Paul's our God. And they will never say that. But that is what they do when they take Paul's writings and they start eating pork and they think that they can do whatever it is they want to do because their new Messiah Paul has come and freed them from the Torah. And that's scary. So you either need to pick who your God is. Is your God Shaul, Paul, or is it Yah? And Yah's ways never change. They never, ever change. We're almost done, guys. And the Creator of all things blessed it, but He did not sanctify all peoples and nations to guard the Shabbat therein. But Yisrael alone, them He permitted to eat and drink and to guard the Shabbat thereon on the earth. Guys, this is not something that we should it's another Sabbath. This is something we were given, not the entire world. He does not want everybody keeping Shabbat. He only wants the people in covenant with Yah to keep the Shabbat. Right there, he says, He permitted to eat and to drink and to guard the Shabbat thereon on the earth. We are sanctified people. We are set apart. We're supposed to be keeping the laws of God. Verse 33, final verse. And the Creator of all things blessed this day, which He had created for blessing and holiness and glory above all days. This Torah and testimony was given to the children of Yisrael, and you guys, which are the children of Yisrael, as a Torah, as a law, forever, unto their generations. Forever, forever, to all generations. It has always been about for all generations. It has always been until our Messiah returns. It has always been until the kingdom comes. And even when the kingdom comes, if the earth and the world has not passed away, the Torah is still in effect. Guys, the Torah is good. It's blessings. It is what our Creator has given to us for love. Guys, do you love our Creator enough to start keeping Shabbat? There's no hardness to it. There's no baggage to it. There's no bondage to it. You're not locked into shackles. This is a day of rest. This is a day we should all be looking forward to, and we do every single week. We grind 6 days and we grind super hard. I'm up at And right around 4 in the morning, I'm reading my Bible until about 6. I would spend 2 hours in the darkness reading my Bible every single day. And it is a beautiful path, and it is a great path, and it is a path that our Creator has called for you and your family and those who you love. Guys, if you know people who are not in the Torah and they roll their eyes at you, they're like, oh, those are the old laws, as they sit there and eat pork chops. And I had a guy tell me on 153 News. I said, hey, that's unclean food, pork. He goes, I love wild boar. I love the taste and the texture of it. And his name was Shed Blood of Jesus Christ. He couldn't get through that the name of the Messiah was never Jesus. That's another hoax. Yahushua, Yeshua, Yeshua. In Hebrew, that means salvation. The name Jesus does not mean salvation. Acts 4:12 says there's only one name under heaven by which you may be saved. Yahushua, Yahushua HaMashiach. But that is the beginning. Being saved is the very beginning. It's not the end. It's not the card that takes you into the heaven. The Christians think so. The Christians will tell you all you got to do is just accept Jesus Christ and you are saved. That's all it is. And then the Holy Spirit will take over. But they all sit there and eat their pork. We have these people who are damned according to the Bible, eating their pork, telling us what to do and what not to do. When in the Bible, it's very, very clear. There's only one way to the kingdom. It's Yah's ways. It has always been his ways. And if you are not keeping the Shabbat, the Sabbaths, that is a great way to end up with horrible curses. It is a great way to be owned in a world where right now we need the spiritual protection of our Creator more than anything else in this world. We have the forces of darkness that are going around locking people in their houses, doing great evil worldwide, and it's coming to your house very soon. It's coming to my house very soon. It's coming to all of our houses very soon. These are the times we must stand tall. There is no greater power than the power of Yahuwah. There is no greater greatness than the power of Yahuwah. And there is no greater evil than that of Hasatan. Choose this day who you will serve.